Official Wandering Weekends Campground Review for Dames Ferry Campground near Juliette, Georgia. Welcome back, friends. Hey, if you are new to the channel, welcome. We're glad you're here. I'm going to take this first few seconds and explain to you how we do our campground reviews. We break our campground reviews down into 6 different categories, and those categories are accessibility, scenery, cost, comforts, atmosphere, and kid-friendly. We'll talk a little bit about each category as we go, but then we also score them 1 to 10 in each category, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. You'll notice there's no such thing as a perfect campground. There's never been a 60. There probably never will be. And also a 50, but a 50 is a really great score. And if it scores 40 and higher, we put it on the recommended list. Let's get started and see how Dames Ferry does. As I just mentioned, we start with accessibility because obviously you have to get there first. And this scores things like how far is it off a major interstate? Is it tight inside the campground? And Dames Ferry is not perfect here. It's only about 20 minutes off of a major interstate, but once you get into campground, there's some tight turns for sure, and getting into some sites can be really tight as well. So you can see the sites are fairly well spread out, like most state parks, but backing into some of these sites can be a challenge, and also a lot of the sites are uneven, so you'll have to break out the leveling blocks for sure. All in all, it scores a 7. Next category is scenery, and I think this is important to all of us. You know, what does it look like? How is it at your campsite? And there are some 9s and 10s throughout Dames Ferry, that's for sure. There's 1 10 for sure in Dames Ferry. But our site, even though one side of it was gorgeous, as you could see in the intro, the other side was a gravel pad with a big light pole there with a big security light on it. And yeah, it wasn't the greatest in the world, but still very, very good. It scores an 8 for our particular site. But like I said, there's some 9s and even a 10 at this campground. Next up on the list is cost, and $32 to $35 a night gets you water and electricity. That used to score a 5 here on the reviews, but since a lot of other campgrounds are going up in costs and prices, and Georgia State Park so far has not, I'm going to bump that up to a 6, and I'll be doing that from here on out. So Dames Ferry in the cost category scores a 6. Fourth category is comforts, and comfort scores things like what's outside the campground, what is there to do, shopping, dining, stuff like that. Other attractions that may be outside of the campground. And Juliette, Georgia is a very small town. It's very unique. It's basically a movie set with one of the most famous landmarks in Georgia, the Whistle Stop Cafe. So that is really cool, but there's not much else in Juliette. Now you do, about 15 minutes down the road, you do have all of your normal big box stores, your Walmarts, your Home Depots. There's even a Bass Pro Shop down there. So it doesn't score bad here, but still, right around you within 15 minutes or so, there's not much except Juliette. That scores at a 7. Second to last category is atmosphere, and that scores basically how was it while you were camping there. Any loud parties, any rude people, how was the front desk, were they helpful? How were the hosts? Were they nice? Everything was great as far as personnel is concerned. The campers we met were great. We made some new friends. The folks working the gate, working the office up front, they were great. They were super helpful. The hosts were super helpful, gave us a couple of good dining options. But there's an issue here at Dames Ferry. You see Lake Juliette there in the background. Well, that lake is there because of Plant Sure. It's the largest coal-powered power plant in North America. And there are trains feeding that plant coal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is never ending. And there are trains coming in there. Gosh, it seems every 15 minutes. It's probably less than that, but it seems like they're there all the time, and it is night and day, and you certainly hear them. Also, our particular site was backed up within about a football field of a relatively busy road. It certainly wasn't an interstate or anything like that, but there were cars on it at all hours. So yeah, it wasn't completely relaxing. There was a lot of noise. It was not quiet very often. So for that, the atmosphere scores a 7. Our last and very favorite category, and that is kid-friendly. How was it for the kids? It's pretty good. Dames Ferry is pretty good for the kiddos. Not a whole lot of traffic. The playground is really cool. It's kind of, a lot of the Georgia State parks, they get all of their playgrounds from the same source. Well, this wasn't always a state park, so this playground is a little bit different. It's more of like a Ninja Warrior type playground. The kids loved it. And so yeah, that headed to the score. A decent place to ride bikes. This much water, you got to worry about little kids with this much water around. And the playground wasn't very close to our campsite. Now, obviously, some campsites like these you're looking at right here, we're almost across the street from it. But for our campsite, it was a good deal away. All in all, it scores an 8 for kid friendly. On to the bonus round. Sometimes we'll do this. We'll give out bonus points to campgrounds that do something exceptionally well that the campground review may not have caught. But none here at Dames Ferry. Everything was pretty much normal. Next up is the best sites at Dames Ferry, and 22 was really good. We like that site. But 28, site 28, you see it right here. It is easily the best site in the entire campground. Now, it is extraordinarily hard to get. So the people we talked to that got that site, they were online at 11:59, 13 months before they wanted to go. And as soon as that thing opened up, they booked it. So yes, that thing stays booked all of the time. Even the locals say that one is booked throughout the week. It's hard to get, but if you can get it, it's probably one of the best sites in Georgia. Add everything together, and Dames Ferry in Juliette, Georgia scores a 43. Now, I would put a little asterisk behind this and make sure you check out the map and do not book your site next to that road. That road's going to drive you nuts. It did us a little bit. And don't book our site. We booked site 31. It was unlevel. It was right under a security light, and that drove us nuts. It's on bright as everything all night long and right next to the road. So don't book that one. But if you can handpick some of your sites out further away from the road on the water, yeah, we can definitely put this one on the recommended list. As always, we're so appreciative you guys watch. And hey, thank you for dealing with my voice. I'm dealing with a little bit of bronchitis right now, so I appreciate you dealing with that if you're still listening. But yeah, we appreciate you guys, and you guys reach out to us more and more and tell us you use our campground reviews, and that's exactly why we do these. So until next time, happy camping.